At this time, we will call this meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee DeBoer. Here. Trustee Trutchell.
Here.
Trustee Pieper.
Here.
President Pfannerstill.
Here.
Trustee Walschlager.
Here.
Trustee Connor.
Here.
And Trustee Hallquist.
Here.
If you'd all rise, we're going to have a moment of silence in honor of 9/11, and after that, it will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Trustee Connor.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we start, we did receive news today, or before we go to public comments, I received news today. Some of you may have found it out at other times, but just want from the entire village board, Chief, we send our condolences on the loss of your father. Very sorry. At this time, we have public comments for anybody that would like to speak in public comments. Do we have anybody on Zoom? No one on Zoom. Anybody in the room?
I'll go ahead.
Just your name and address, please.
Sure. My name is Beth Arndt. I live at 217 Hazel Lane in Hartland. And I just wanted to stop by and say thank you for helping support St. Charles having their festival this weekend. I feel that the village did a great job keeping everyone safe. And as a resident of the neighborhood, I feel that my property was clean when it was all done. The streets seemed clear and safe to travel on. And yeah, we had a great time as neighbors. We love Fall Fest. We love that it's at St. Charles. My children look forward to it every year. We were there all weekend. So I just want to come down here and say thank you very much for supporting St. Charles. And as a resident that lives 3 houses down, I had no problems. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment? All right, we'll start. First item we have is consideration of the village board minutes from the August 28th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve village minutes of August 28th, 2023.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the August 28th meeting. Do we have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. Items that are related to vouchers. First, we have consideration of contractor's application for payment number 2 to Wolf Paving Company in the amount of $157,499.72 for the 2023 paving program. Excuse me.
I'll make a motion to approve the contractor's application for payment number 2 to Wolf Paving Company in the amount of $157,499.72.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. We now have consideration of the contractor's application for payment number 2 to Pieper Electric, Inc. in the amount of $5,348.50.
I'll make a motion that we approve the payment number 2 to Pieper Electric for $5,348.50.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve a payment for $5,348.50. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have consideration of vouchers for payment in the amount of $700,722.65. I will add that obviously those 2 items that we just had motions on and that passed, those now give us the number that we have here on the vouchers of $700,722.65.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers in the amount of $700,722.65.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the vouchers for payment in the amount of $700,722.65. Any discussion?
I have a couple questions.
Fire away.
On the economic development, holiday lighting of tree, it says, what is that exactly for? It's $1,974?
That's the Hartland bid district paying for lighting of the tree for the,
What do you, what is it actually paying for, though? Is
putting
it
all the lights on the Christmas tree for the season.
putting the lights on the tree? We already have the lights, though, right?
Nope, that's theirs. I think they have new lights. Again, this is not our money, this is the bids.
Okay, well, it was on here, so I wasn't quite sure what that was for. And then I wanted to ask, Fire Chief, the paramedic EMT classes at WCTC,
Yes.
that, it's almost 4,000. How many people is that for? One, two?
Two, one EMT and one that's in paramedic.
All right, that's all I had, thank you.
Oh,
Okay, just,
Anybody have any other questions? We got a motion and a second. I'll call the question for the vouchers. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have item number 3 on our agenda is discussion and consideration of a letter of engagement from Ehlers regarding the creation of Tax Incremental District Number 7, also known as TID.
so this right here would be moving forward with Ehlers to have them as the third party to help create TIF number 7 for the quarry project. The first meeting would be September 25th for the Joint Review Board of Plan Commission. This would come forward in October to the village board for the tax increment financing. If the tax increment financing was voted no, then this contract would cease and we would just pay the first lump of, I forget what the dollar amount is there, the first portion. But we have to start this process as there's a lot of mailings and everything that are going out. So the 4,500 would be what we owe regardless. If this would fall through, we wouldn't owe the other 1,500. But they've already started mailings and things like that for the TIF district.
Ryan, would this be an appropriate time to ask how this district number 7 is going to work, how the payments work, in just real simple, or are we not to that point yet?
Yeah, I guess since we're looking at approving the contract, so the TIF would be 100% pay-go. So the village would have no upfront money, no cost, no money outlay, no risk, no debt. The increment would go, we would get a certain amount of increment back to pay for a sewer upgrade down the way, $5,000 back to the village every year for the life of the TIF, and then the developer would get the remaining increment up to a dollar amount that we're working out yet. But again, there's no money up front, no risk on the village. This TIF would never be in the negative. It would be, if this TIF didn't work out, the developer would fail to get full payment of what they want.
And when would we start getting our full tax dollar?
Probably the 27th year. That's what we're showing. It's a 27-year TIF. Everything depends. If the market interest rates get better, it could be a 15 to 20-year TIF. But we should,
27's what the,
that's the maximum,
Okay.
correct? And we're going to make it so there would be no amendments, so it would be a maximum of 27 years.
and this district is being done differently from what we've done in the past, correct?
Yes, this is 100% pay-go. Previously, we did developer where we gave money up front. This will be, they get all the money, all the debt, all the borrowings. They have to put the product in, and then they will get rebate of their taxes. There will be no village outlay.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I do want to add, and I think it's important to add, to be as upfront as possible, especially with the history of TIFs here. I think it's important to make sure everybody knows that at any given time they can call the village. People on this board, but I suggest that you call the village, but they can call the village and ask any questions. But so as we go through that process, because a lot of different things get used, but like when we say TID, that's the district that, and then you hear about TIF number 7 or TIF number 6. There's a district, which is the TIF money can't be used outside of that district. And then the TIF money is what's used, but it can only be within that district. I know it gets a little confusing. I'm just letting everybody know so they're not like, why are they calling it TID sometimes and TIF another? The TIF is the money, the TID is that district. I also want to note that the actual creation of this, while the village deciding to do this gets everything started, it does have to go through a joint review board, and that meeting is set, if this goes through, that meeting is set for September 25th, 2023, and that meeting is at 9 a.m. in here, at Village Hall, in the village boardroom. So I just, for the public to know.
And the plan commission meeting at 5:30 that same day.
And a plan commission meeting at 5:30 that same day. So, in this room. Just want to make sure everything's out there for everyone. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to contact the village, contact myself. contact people on the board.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with a letter of engagement for Ehlers regarding the creation of TID number 7.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to move forward with the letter of engagement for Ehlers regarding the creation of TID 7. Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have other items for consideration. Consideration of appointment of a citizen member to the Joint Review Board as presented by Village President Pfannerstill. The person that I will be appointing is a citizen member. They have a background in finance. They also have a background in helping with some different nonprofit organizations and other organizations that are for-profit. But the name is Caroline Motz.
I will make a motion that we approve Carolyn Motz for the Joint Review Board as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Carolyn Motz for that Joint Review Board. I do want to add, there is a brief bio. If anybody wants to contact the village, they can get a copy of that brief bio. Go ahead.
Just my comment on this, the Joint Review Board is made up of the taxing jurisdictions, so there's somebody from Waukesha County, somebody from WCTC. In some of our TIFs, all TIFs are Arrowhead, and then one of our TIFs is Lake Country, the other Hartland Lakeside. And then we have the president, and then we do the other voting member is this public member. Previously, Mike Myers filled that role, so obviously this is filling in that JRB public member, so she will be on all the TIFs going forward.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have discussion and consideration of Hartland hosting the Wall That Heals, presented by the Hartland Chamber of Commerce, Donna Doro, and Lynn Minturn.
Thank you for allowing us to come in and talk about this. I did send information out ahead of time. Hopefully you saw some of that. We have a brief video that we will show shortly. But to give you a brief outline for those of you who haven't heard anything about it, it has been creating quite a bit of buzz in the village by a lot of people, a lot of different organizations. So we were approached by Kent Rice, who is part of the organization The Wall That Heals. This is a 375-foot replica of the actual Vietnam Wall from Washington, D.C., and it is a traveling wall that comes through. They pick communities, so we're not even assured, even if you approve this, we're not assured that we will get it. We still have to go through an application process in order to do that. But that will happen tomorrow. If it's approved, I will go ahead and fill out the application. We should know sometime in October, early November, if we have been picked. We will be picking 3 dates that it would be possible for us to actually coordinate and host that here, and then they will pick one of those 3 dates. If those 3 dates aren't open and they still want our community to do it, they will actually contact us and see if there's another date that we can do. So it is a Wednesday through Sunday event. They bring in the wall via a mobile unit. It is escorted into town with, we ask that the emergency departments escort it into town. Quite a solemn ceremony, if you will. They actually get truckers from across the country that donate their time to bring in all this equipment. It will take a village to set this up. So we will need about 150 volunteers, I think is what they had said throughout that time period. They will have volunteers at the wall 24/7. What we are being told is that many times the veterans like to take the overnight hours. I will get emotional. I'm part of this, I will tell you. So we need to raise $11,000 just to bring the wall in, and then we need to double that. So we're looking at about $35,000 that we will have to raise in order to cover everything that needs to be covered to have this wall. It will be open to the public 24/7. It's free of charge. We are hoping to host it in Nixon Park. I did speak with Dave Felkner. He was able to take those measurements. You will see on the information that it will fit where he thinks it will fit. We will need access to electric, so that might require bringing in generators because that is lit up throughout the time period. Their mobile unit is kind of a traveling museum. And they will have all kinds of artifacts from the war. They will have running stories about various vets. They make sure that they honor local vets. And when I say local vets, we are Waukesha County. It will be every county that touches Waukesha County, Dane County, Washington County, Milwaukee County. They're all considered local. So they will highlight local vets in their stories and honor them, much like I know Ben brought in his father's medals here today. So it's really kind of moving to be able to talk with or honor your local vet. We have done some preliminary, actually Donna did some preliminary calls to sponsors to see what interest there is, and quite frankly, I think they will be tripping over themselves to sponsor this, so I don't think there's a problem raising the money. So Ben is going to play a 3-minute video. You may or may not have seen it, but it will give you a little more information. I'm going to get out of the way here.
The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund many years ago created a replica of the wall that travels to communities around the country that we call the Wall That Heals. This mobile replica really is about taking the names home to communities large and small to allow people to have that same kind of healing experience, to come and show their respect, to remember those 58,000 whose names are on the wall, as well as the 2.7 million Vietnam veterans who served who returned home. It's a chance to look back and pay their respects to those who answered the call of service to their country, especially those who made the ultimate sacrifice.
To be able to take this around to communities that may not even know anything about the wall or the war, especially for the young kids to come out and see these things and get educated on it. People need to know what these 58,000 plus gave their lives for, whether they want to hear about it or not, they need to know.
The experience at the Wall That Heals is as you go from one end in toward the center, the wall actually rises up above you so that it's taller than you are, which is one of the key design aspects of the wall in Washington. As you go down one of the walkways, the wall actually rises above you. And I think that has a psychological impact where you actually understand that there is something important here. It is so large that it creates an emotion of power, and you understand you're supposed to stop, you're supposed to think about it. And in this case, you can read the names, you can see your reflection in the wall, and you have to remember why those names are inscribed. These are people who sacrificed their lives for our country.
I get this feeling in my stomach, the pride that you see. When we went into San Dimas, the kids were all along the streets with their American flags. That always chokes me up because I know what it is to serve this country. And we as Americans sometimes don't understand the cost of war. Hate the war all you want, but don't hate the warrior.
I met a couple guys here this morning, and one guy, I walked up to him and he started crying already. Man, that makes me feel good. Not that he's crying, but that he's here to have bonding with someone and being able to find his buddy on the wall. It means so much.
Open for questions, of course. I do want to let you know that the Wall That Heals committee will sit down with us for a 45-minute Zoom call and answer a lot of questions that we have. Didn't want to go through that process of trying to get all the different departments together if we weren't going to be able to host it. But they were happy to do that. They will also sit in, Kent Rice himself will sit in on a committee. They will have training sessions for us throughout, suggestions for us on how to advertise and promote, et cetera. I did run into Chief Misko this week, and he asked about traffic, if there was any idea what to expect for traffic. Kent Rice was not able to come tonight. He's out in Boston, actually, for a convention with this. He happened to call me today, so I asked him that specific question. He said, out in California, okay, they're, 16 times our size. They had about 17,000 people come through that 5-day period. They've had as few as maybe 3,000, kind of a normal's about 8,000. I figure the holiday train pulls in 8,000 people, for 4 hours on one night. I don't think this is necessarily an issue as far as traffic, because not everybody's coming at the same time. So that, I wanted to answer that question up front. So I am here for questions that I can answer. I think Donna, though, wanted to say something first.
Sorry, just that we would also ask the park to be open 24 hours, which I know is outside of our norm, so we'd have to have the park open. But remember, we'd have volunteers throughout, so it's not on our police or anything. It would be volunteers sitting there protecting that wall. And again, a lot of veterans, a lot of people that I know that the VFW, we've talked with them, they're just ecstatic over it. I know that people have mentioned other places that it could be held in Hartland. Personally, Nixon Park is near and dear, so I just think Nixon Park is our hub, our center place, and if it can be there, and it's right by the Legion, so that's just where I think it personally should be. I think it's amazing, so I'm so happy that Lynn got this all rolling for us, but yeah.
It's centrally located, and we already have the
Correct.
memorial there with the flag. The only thing I thought of, I think it's a great idea. The only thing I did think of is I don't know, because we would probably mark this down to get around that open at night thing. We'll just consider it that they got the park rented, basically, so they can use, you know what I mean? It just gets around, so it makes everything real easy, but we'll have to make sure that those days that there's not games, or just that they don't schedule on whatever day it ends up being on.
Correct.
If it's
We
going to
don't
be
know.
in the outfield, but.
And this was gonna go to the park board, but they canceled their meeting, so it's just coming right to the board.
They did have this too, and I don't know if it was the same size, and I don't know if it was the same organization, because I went to read the names for Hartland, but they did have it in Waukesha once.
They had a wall.
Yeah, that was something different.
That was, okay.
There are a few similar things,
Okay.
because I
didn't
also
know.
have seen something which I thought was the same as well. And Ken said no. Rhinelander and Crivets have actually hosted, and Franklin has hosted, but that's it here in Wisconsin who has actually hosted
One
this.
in Merton, so you're saying, and that was
That was
the wall-
different.
That was
Yeah,
different,
yeah.
So
okay.
they usually list all of the military people on different walls that they travel around, but this is specific towards the Vietnam War.
And they travel across the country. It obviously isn't just in Wisconsin.
Sure.
And we would also work around, we certainly want to look at all the dates where big events are happening in the park and stay away from those. I know we had an initial discussion with Sarah, and she had suggested maybe National Night Out, which initially sounds like a great idea, but we realized, I think Donna had a really good point, this is a solemn kind of event, and we don't want the party atmosphere with it, if you will. So we just felt it should stand on its own.
Right.
So are you asking just for us to say, yes, you can have it in the park? Is that what we're looking at tonight?
I believe so. I guess it's the approve that we're going to move forward with the process, see if we can, as a community, be approved, and our goal was to have it in the park. We did talk about a couple other areas. I know the soccer fields over on VV or something came up. Well, technically, that's not Hartland.
Right.
The school, Arrowhead School came up. Technically, that's not really Hartland. However, I know Kent was talking about the parking. Well, on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there isn't virtually no parking. Every student up there has a car. So I think he was just concerned. He's not seen this community when we have huge crowds. It works. And especially since they're not all coming on the same day.
Now,
But you're not asking us to actually fund it. We're just approving the
No.
park, and then the committee
So-
goes and raises the money,
And
right?
what we're looking for is approval of the park without us actually having to ask for funding for the park, to pay for the park, because we're gonna raise the funding for the veterans and to have this brought here.
Okay.
But we don't want to do all the fees or anything else. This is truly for Hartland, because if you think this event can happen anywhere and it could come to Hartland, I think that's pretty amazing.
Question I had, I know you said you're gonna, few dates, but is it coordinating to how this thing travels across? Right, so I mean, I think it's a great idea. I'd almost say, hey, whatever if you can get here, we'll take any date you can give us.
Correct.
That's what we have
versus-
to say.
Yeah,
Right.
and it basically from May to either September or early June. I think early October. I think it's May to early October are any of those dates in there.
Okay.
And then that committee is going to sit and pick and choose, and they are going to set up their map based on communities.
And
And
we
I-
need to find out by when, I'm sorry. I forgot.
End of October, early November.
That
So
would be
we'll
good
have
time.
time.
This year to figure it out, and even coordinating a Thursday night band like we normally have, we could have a pretty cool band there of just a little.
A patriotic band of some
Correct,
kind.
something like that to actually pull it all together, so we'd have enough time for that too, so I think it could be an amazing event for Heartland.
And we
I think
would-
it'd be an honor to have it in
That's what I
Heartland.
think Thank
you,
Like I
that's
said, I
how we
lived in
feel.
DC for 10 years and I've gone to it. It's humbling and that to see people down there, so it's very amazing.
We will be forming a committee, and we would ask that maybe a rep from the village be on that committee, as well as the chamber and our Legion and our VFW and other parties that should be a part of this.
I think it's a great idea. Like I said, it's not the same, because I think they call that one the moving wall, but when I saw it in
Correct.
Waukesha, I mean, it is somber.
It is,
But at the same time, it's a happy somber because it's memorializing people that at the time when they came home, the ones that did come home, weren't necessarily memorialized, where now they are, and
Yeah,
their
we're
honor is
finally
truly
respecting
given
them.
to, yeah.
Right.
I will say one thing that they did say at the meeting that we were at, it was kind of interesting to hear that people that are still lost and they don't know where they are, they're still finding people and adding to the wall that they know now. They have more DNA ability and seeing, it's incredible to listen to these stories. And I know people that serve there hardly want to talk about it, what happened and the way they came back. I just think this is just an incredible opportunity for Hartland.
I
Absolutely.
will say, as a side note, we do hope to do a little fundraising for the Legion. I want to speak with Kent Rice. I don't want to disrespect what they're doing, but if there's any way we could tie in, that's something I didn't mention. All the funds raised here will go back to the Vietnam programs. But if there is something we can do specifically for our Legion without stepping on their toes, we would like to be able to do that too.
Lynn and Donna, I commend you for the efforts of bringing this to the Heartland Village. It's just a great idea. And as a member of the Sons of the American Legion, I can guarantee you the Legion members, the Sons of the American Legion, they are giddy about something like this.
Yeah.
So it's a great idea.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say I'm ready to make a motion to approve Heartland hosting the wall at Heels presented by the Chamber of Commerce. I think it's a great thing, and I'm excited to and pray and hope that we get lucky.
Was that your motion?
Yes.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. I thought it was gonna turn into being the motion when you said, I'm ready for the, it's been moved and seconded
Yes.
for Heartland hosting
It's fantastic.
the wall that heals. The chamber will let us know what dates are decided on when they
If
know.
we're deciding.
And there won't be fees with it because it will be, it's just the way it's gonna be.
I'll be the finance guy. If we don't get the funding, yes, the village would probably fund the gap. Or you guys would, the chamber won't have the money, the Legion won't have the money. If
Right.
if there's a gap, we probably would,
We'll make it happen.
finance,
Thank
I'm
you.
good with it.
Right.
But it's a
I
great
think
thing.
that will raise
so-
it, but
Thank you,
I have a
Ron.
feeling that there's gonna be
Yep.
it's gonna be tough to find the envelope to stuff it in because it's gonna be coming so fast. We got a big envelope.
It's kind of like the Field of Dreams.
Right.
Build it and they will
come.
show.
Yes,
You
yes.
betcha.
There will be.
So, yeah, so.
Well, perfect,
Thank
thank you.
Did I call it? I did.
No.
We haven't voted yet.
Oh, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Just so you guys know, I had forgotten to vote at first, but it passed.
Thanks, you guys. That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing it to us. It's great.
All right, now we have announcements. Wednesday and Thursday is budget. So for all of you here and those of you who watch, Thursday, September 13th, Wednesday, September 13th, and Thursday, September 14th, is going to be the budget hearing. So if you want to see how the village actually spends their money and what goes into how the money gets spent, and see how we all sit and talk to keep your taxes the same or lower every single year, that's the meeting that you want to come to. 5 o'clock in the village boardroom, if you'd like to come to a budget meeting, Wednesday or Thursday. We encourage all to come, all are welcome. I just want to give a quick shout out saying thank you to St. Charles for putting on another wonderful fall fest. It really was neat to see so many people. I love seeing so many people come into the village. I think that everybody seems to have a very good time. I saw some pictures. I unfortunately was not able to attend, but I did see some pictures, and it looks like it was just packed, but a lot of smiling faces and a lot of happy people. So those are my announcements. The only last one I have, I'm sure someone will touch on, but obviously our hearts and prayers go out to Chief on the loss of his father. Our prayers also go out to all of those who are still suffering from the tragedy that happened on 9/11 in 2001. I'm done. I have no other announcements.
Excuse me. Lieutenant Conrad Sabaniak's last day at the police department was on Wednesday, September 6, 2023. Lieutenant Sabaniak was presented with a plaque in recognition of his years of service with the Hartland Police Department. Detective Robert Jewell expressed interest in the open lieutenant's position. The Police and Fire Commission will interview him regarding the lieutenant position tomorrow on September 12, 2023. Additionally, Officer Rachel Wendago completed an extensive 2-week defense and arrest tactics course to become a state-certified DAT instructor. The timing worked out well since Lieutenant Sabaniak was one of our DAT instructors. Part-time administrative assistant Morgan Gergel accepted a full-time position at the Waukesha County Technical College and will be leaving the Hartland Police Department on September 15th, 2023. Morgan has done an excellent job over the past 15 months, and we wish her all the best with her full-time position at WCTC.
All right, fire department ran 101 calls in August. We're doing pretty good again this month. We were up at Sendix. We usually try and go up to Sendix with the truck and fly the flag during the time of the towers, but since it was raining, we held off and we were up there tonight. So people walking up, handing food over and everything like that and thanking us. Before our nighttime staff came up, they said they got a call from a lady that was crying, thanking us for putting that flag up and doing that. So that's what's going on at HFD.
Thanks, Chief.
This week is free try-it week for several of the rec classes that are held here in the community center. Also some classes over at Delafield. So that is an opportunity to come try a class for free and then sign up if you're interested. Those are mostly punch card classes. We are seeking ice rink sponsors for the Skate Slab Ice Rink in Nixon Park. So details on that have been posted. And we also are, Ryan and I are just to follow up our meeting with Delafield later this month regarding that recreation contract.
Just touching on Nixon Park, the new playground unit was installed last week, so that's up. The pathways and asphalt surfaces have been milled by PMI. We're looking at next week for paving of the new parking lot and pathways. So just an update on that. Hartbrook Bridge is also up and landscaped and everything like that, so Hartbrook Bridge is open as well.
Leo?
You got him. Leo, did you try out the new slide on the playground?
Tomorrow.
All right.
I wanted to let the concrete cure.
I just wanted to comment on the park. Nixon Park is not, it's still closed for a couple of more weeks or months, or just for the public. I mean, I think the
Nixon
playground.
Park is closed for the season until the ice rink is open again.
Okay, I do see some people out there, I'm sure they're, understand that they shouldn't be there, but.
Correct, yeah, we've been trying to kick them out as need be, just so they're not in the way of construction vehicles or anything like that. We just don't want anyone getting hurt.
Right, I just wanted to make that
Yep.
knowledge. Okay.
There's a lot of things going on down there.
Anybody else? I remember that I have two more, but I'll let everybody else go first.
I'm good.
Shouldn't be more than a half hour. No, I do. I got a phone call from, and I'm using this to make sure I don't forget because it's in my head right now. The building that I believe is 2 buildings over where they're revamping it, the old firehouse. If someone could reach out to them, something about a tree in the front of the building. They don't know if they need to contact DPW. Is it that they want it pulled or the tree is gonna get switched? I don't know.
So real quick, Dave Faulkner's reached out to them. We asked them to come forward to the village board if they want that tree removed, because if you remove that tree in front of their business so that you can see their business, I have a feeling we're gonna have other businesses downtown that want trees removed as well.
And when they called me, they told me that they thought that when they had gotten approved for the project, that it was talked about on removing the tree, but that at that meeting, I'm just telling you what they said, at that meeting, it was their understanding that that had been decided, that if they wanted the tree removed, that was part of that meeting. I didn't go back and watch it.
I
read
did.
it.
It was not. You mentioned the tree and said for them to reach out to the village powers and see if they remove a tree, but it's rare that we do that. I did watch that whole meeting.
Okay. Yeah. Well, DPW's been notified. Whatever has to happen.
Come to the meeting, next meeting if they want it.
All right.
But again,
Well, let's get it on the agenda then if it's gotta go, or if the tree all of a sudden accidentally is
Sick?
gone, then we'll take it off the
It's
agenda.
not sick.
It's actually a nice tree.
Beautiful tree.
And why do they want it down, or why would somebody want it down?
So
they
you
can't
can
see your
see their
building.
business. That's all.
Can't see their building.
So that would be every building downtown that we'd have to tear trees down.
Trees go good with the poles that hold the lines, which we gotta put underground. No, I know what you're saying. They gotta come forward. Got it. I had another one now and I probably lost it. What the heck was it? No, I really didn't. No, it's not. No, no, I really was. I got. Something that I'm taking to park board. Forget it, I can't remember. I'll tell you when I come. It'll come to me 2 minutes after we close this meeting out. I have no more announcements.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting's adjourned.